today's video, I want to share a bit about my experience taking the Google UX certificate course and what I would do differently if I were to take it all over in this year 2023. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Grace. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, this is my imaginary confetti for you. I'm throwing it up. Thank you for coming back and for watching my videos. I do not take it for granted. For those of you who do not know, my UX career journey started that was 2020 or 2021. When was the COVID? Anyways, it started the year COVID broke. And my sister told me, Grace, I think you're going to make a good product designer. That's how I pivoted into tech. And one thing that I did, apart from taking my bootcamp, I also did the Google UX certificate course. Anyone who is the beginner in UI UX design, I would definitely recommend this course for you. However, I will tell you what you need to do differently if you're taking this course in 2023. So the Google UX course has 7 steps. 7 courses, and I find that after the first course, a lot of people do not even follow through to the rest. So mine personally, I did it over a span of 2 years. I feel like I should have done it first before going to my boot camp, because that way it provides me a good foundation that I can build on top. Doing it after I'd gone to my boot camp made it easier for me, but that also made me take a longer time to get it completed, because I felt like I already knew some of the things that was being taught to me, and I was already practicing as a product or UI UX designer at the time. So what I would do differently would be to take it first before I go for any other course as an introductory course to be the foundation I then build upon. And then if you're taking this course for the first time, I would advise that you take your time, do not rush it, make sure you take notes. So one thing that I did, and I will do all over again, is take notes. I will pause the videos and take notes, not even using the note taken within the app, because for me personally, physical notes were easier or are generally easier to refer to. So I took physical notes, and I found this really helpful, because sometimes when I'm stuck, I go back, flip through to get ideas and to understand these concepts better as a refresher. So I would advise that you take the course slowly and take notes while you're at it. One downside that I mentioned in my previous video about the Google UX course is that it is UX heavy. It doesn't teach you a lot about visual design. So one thing that I would definitely do differently is learn visual design side by side the Google UX course. So there are a lot of resources online that you can lean on to learn visual design. YouTube, for example, has a lot of great resources. You have a lot of channels that teaches visual design. So feel free to go to these channels. I'll link a few that can be useful in the description box as well, so make sure you use those resources to help you grow in your visual design practice. So one thing that really helped me during my course was that I was practicing, and then this helped me to build my portfolio quite easier, because by the time I was at the end of the project, I already had the structure to put into my portfolio. So in short, I was building my portfolio side by side with the certificate course. That's something that I would definitely recommend you to do. The great thing about portfolio building is that when you do the first one, just like UX design, you cannot just take it and push it out, right? You iterate over and over again. So the first one will be the worst version. The second one will be the next worst version. But over time, you think about things, see things online, you're like, okay, how do I improve my elevator speech? How do I brand myself? So by thinking about it upfront, as you go through the course, all you need to do is then improve on it. So you might be wondering, I'm just starting the course. How do I know how a portfolio should look like? If you go online, there are a lot of templates on that. So take advantage of these and start your portfolio at the beginning of the process. At the beginning of the course, you find that they ask you to put your your case studies or what you have learned in the slide deck format. And this is not a great way to present your portfolio to any employer. I would tell you that for free. My advice would be to build a portfolio as you go on with your project. And you might say, Grace, I don't have money. I'm only starting out. I don't have money to get a domain name and, host my site. Or even it's too technical for me at this point. The great thing is that you can do it on Notions. Notions is a productivity and project planning application. In short, it can be used for a lot of things, and you can host your portfolio on Notions. My first portfolio was hosted in Notions, and I was able to get a job using that. So I think it's a good enough first step when you are starting out. If you'd like me to create a video about how I did that, please let me know in the description below, and I will definitely oblige. Hey, another thing to mention is that the Google UX course teaches you multiple tools, which is Figma, the main one, and Adobe XD. But recently, guess what? Adobe XD acquired Figma, and I believe with time they're going to phase out Adobe XD as a product. So you want to focus more on Figma in the areas where they say you should use Adobe XD. My personal opinion, my personal advice would be to use Figma instead, so that way you get familiar with that tool. And another great thing about that is that Figma is like the #1 tool within the industry right now. I don't see it changing in the foreseeable future. So hone in on that skill, learn Figma. You can go to their Figma YouTube channel to leverage the resources that they have there. So when they ask you to use Adobe XD for a project, just ignore that and use Figma. This is my personal opinion. I don't know if I mentioned this previously. It took me 2 years to finish my Google UX certificate. So like the 7 steps, I had like a break between a lot of them. So which is why I did not finish on time. I would say one thing that would have been helpful to help me push through would have been an accountability partner. And if I'm doing it all over again, I'm going to look for someone who is doing the course as well, so that we can be accountable to each other. And this will definitely help in making the process faster and smoother. And if you are frustrated, you are able to then get encouragement from the other person, and vice versa. Share what you learned, brainstorm together. It's always more exciting when it's done that way. So I would recommend that you find an accountability partner to take this course alongside you. Okay, the next thing I would say is to get real world projects. The market is really competitive. A lot of people are pivoting into tech. So in order to distinguish yourself from every other candidate in the market, you want to use real life projects. Google UX course from the first to the 4th one will take you through some of the projects that you can do. If you're doing the 6th or the 7th course, I recommend that you then use an actual or real life project. For me, one thing that really helped me was the fact that my sister had small businesses, that some of my case studies were based off her businesses. So we would talk about the constraints. I would also pitch to her some of the things that I'd done. She would give me feedback, like a real life client. And then that helped me when I was starting out. Guys, one more thing that I would do, which is not directly related to the Google UX certificate course, but then it's important for me to mention, is that I would update and overhaul my LinkedIn when I start my Google UX certificate course. So what you want to do is highlight some of the projects you're working on within your LinkedIn profile, and then this gives you visibility to recruiters, so you might be able to get an internship opportunity even before you finish all 7 of the courses. So the last thing that I would do if I'm taking the Google UX course all over again would be to learn how to use my soft skill, because when you're working on this project, you're working alone, you're working in a vacuum, and that is not real life. In a real life situation, you work with an engineer, you work with different stakeholders, maybe your manager, you work with PMs. So it would be great to get that real life experience and see how this works, how you can sharpen some of your other soft skills that you bring to the table in a real life situation. I'm going to summarize what I've said from the beginning. The Google UX design course is a great course, but it's only something that you start with. And in order to go from good to great, you need to take other courses on the side. Focus on Figma, because Adobe XD is going extinct in a few years. Look for real life projects to help you boost your portfolio. Make sure you start building your portfolio from the start. Use Notions if need be. It's free, And then once you're done with the overall project and you have a little bit of money, invest in a better portfolio because the job market is cutthroat. There are a lot of opportunities within the tech industry, but then there's a lot of competition to get those opportunities. So you want to put yourself or position yourself in the right space. Okay, that brings me to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you haven't given this video a thumbs up yet, please do. And make sure you turn on the notification bell so that you get notified when I publish new content like this. Until I come to you next time, bye bye.